Welcome to St Anne's Catholic Primary School. This video will explain our calculation policy here in school and will explain how your child is taught maths right from reception up to year 6. I have split the videos into 4 separate videos. The first one, which I will do now, is all about addition and the processes your child will go through to learn addition in school. As you can see on our policy is based on Inspire Maths, which is the scheme we follow, which is based on Singapore Maths, and it goes from the concrete, which is the left-hand column, to the pictorial in the middle, onto the abstract, which is the right-hand column. All children in school will start their maths on the concrete, and then depending on their ability will move on to pictorial, and then eventually onto the abstract. Our first learning objective here is combining two parts to make a whole. Here the concrete manipulatives are multilink, and it shows you here 4 and a 3, and all together that would make a 7. Onto the pictorial, you've got the part whole model. Now you've got your whole, the 7 on the left hand side, and your two parts, the 3 and the 4. And then your abstract would move on to the numbers themselves. So 4, 3, and your whole is 7. The next stage in addition is counting on using number lines. Now, we do use number lines in St Anne's, but it isn't the only way we teach addition in St Anne's, and we're very careful about using number lines because they are quite an abstract thing for the children to understand. But some children do use number lines, which is why I've written here, teachers to teach addition using the counted on method, but to only use number lines for those children whom they deem it is appropriate for. Some children take a while to understand number lines. So here we've got the number line 0 to 10 and the multilink above it, and it shows you 4 plus 2, and you start on 4 and you jump on 2 on the number line. This then translates onto the pictorial model in the bar model, and this shows you 4 on the bar model and 2 more. And then onto the abstract number line, which is just a section of the number line, 4 jumping on 2. The next objective is regrouping to make 10 by using 10 frames and counters or cubes or Numicon in the concrete. So as you can see here, there are 2 10 frames. The number sentence is 6 plus 5. You've got 6 cubes in one colour, and you've got 4 in the other colour to make the 10, and you've got 1 left over. Now the children from reception in year 1 will learn how to do this, and even into year 2. Then onto the pictorial, you would give the children a blank 10 frame, and they would actually draw or use counters to put 6, then fill in the 10 frame to make the 10, and then we know we've got 1 left over. And onto the abstract is children to develop an understanding of equality. So 6 plus blank equals 11. So we've got here 6 plus 5 equals 5 plus what? 6 plus 5 equals what plus 4. So that is quite an abstract way of thinking in math. So you can see how that develops from the concrete onto the abstract. Now we're moving on to tens and ones plus ones. In the concrete we're using base 10 here, and we've got 41 plus 8. You can see we've got 4 tens and 1 1. And we're adding on 8 ones, so the children will physically move the base 10, the 8 ones, into the ones of the 41, and then add the 4 tens, so it's 49. To represent this in pictorial, we've got 4 tens drawn as sticks or lines, and we've got 1 1, and as you can see underneath there are 8 ones. Now the children will again just count up all the ones and add them to the 4 tens, which makes 49. The abstract, we've got the part whole model here and the formal column addition. The formal column addition is taught from Inspire Maths Book 1, which is in year 1, probably towards the end, summer term year 1, and then it'll continue into year 2. Then we move on to teaching tens and ones, adding tens and ones. And in the concrete here, we've got the base 10. To continue to develop understanding of partitioning and place value and use this to support addition. The example here is 36 plus 25. So we've got the 3 tens and the 6 ones, plus the 2 tens and the 5 ones. And as you can see underneath, the 5 ones have been added to the 6 ones. That has been regrouped, which creates an extra 10, and that leaves 6 tens. Now moving on to the pictorial, you can draw it. So we've got our 36 and our 25. You can see that the circled amount is 10, which regrouped into an extra 10 stick, and then that makes 61. You can see it's done in the tens and ones grid at the bottom as well. It's another way of representing this pictorially. Then we go on to the abstract. So the children are taught to look for ways to make 10 initially. So with this 36 plus 25, the 6 ones and the 5 ones are very close to making a 10. So we look at that 6 in 36 and we partition that into a 1 and a 5. So that would mean 30 plus 20 is 50. Then you've got 5 from the 6 ones. 5 plus 5 is 10. And we know we've got 1 left over, which is 61. Then we move on to the formal method. Now this is important when teaching your children the formal method. The regroup 10 is written underneath, as you can see the example here. We always start with the 1s, so 6 ones plus 5 ones equals 11 ones. We put the 1 and we regroup the other 1 underneath the tens column. And then 3 tens plus 2 tens plus that extra 1 10 is 6 tens, 61. And finally, we go on to hundreds, tens and ones, adding tens and ones, or hundreds, tens and ones plus hundreds, tens and ones. So you can see here we're using place value counters as the concrete. So these are actual counters with 100, 10 or 1 written on them, so the children can make these numbers themselves. And then we can move on to drawing these in our books, and then representing these on a bar model if it helps them with their maths. So the example here is 243 plus 368. You can see how that's made in the concrete. 200s, 4 10s, 3 1s, plus 300s, 6 10s and 8 1s. Now we always start with the 1s, so we're adding the 1s first. There's 10 ones which we need to regroup into an extra 10, which we move into the tens column. And we regroup 10 tens to make 100, which is then put into the hundreds column. You can see how that's drawn, and then the abstract column method, 243 plus 368, and as you can see the regrouped tens and ones are written underneath where the calculation is. Now the very bottom of our calculation policy is just some ideas and different ways to ask the children to solve some problems. Now this is called mastery and reasoning, where the children have to actually reason and become masters at the maths that they're doing. And it shows some examples here, some word problems, missing number problems, bar models, part whole model, and different ways that the children can access the maths. This is the video 1 edition. I hope it's been informative. If you've got any questions, feel free to come in and ask your teacher or myself in school. Thank you for listening.